So at this point, I'm sure many of you guys know about Oliver Tree and how he tragically died in Brazil in that helicopter crash while touring for his new studio album, as part of his world tour. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but Oliver's death was such a tragic and unfortunate tragedy that happened. It was a colossal waste of life and he was taken from us too soon. And it's not just Oliver Tree who tragically died in the Rio de Janeiro helicopter crash. There's Alexandra and Charles, who were the pilots on the two helicopters. Gatsby, who was an Argentinian YouTuber with over 3 million subscribers. Brazilian music producer Lucas Froda, and Argentinian director and screenwriter Lucas Vignale. This tragic loss of life from the two helicopters crashing is deeply unfortunate, especially when the resulting fire from said crash was so bad that it completely charred Oliver Tree's body, making it so the only way you could reliably identify him was through dental records. Very nasty way to go out. The investigation into the helicopter crash is still ongoing, but one of the main theories is that it was human error, either by one of the pilots or air traffic controllers. And while most people online did the sensible thing and expressed their deepest sympathies for this tragic event, despite this, there were many people who for some reason loved to go corpse digging to try and rehash old drama that they did, regardless of how valid it actually is. Now, while this isn't exactly a new phenomenon with people online where some people will say mean or edgy things about a recently deceased person, it's the internet, and at this point, everyone knows it's just a toxic cesspit. It's very strange how some people will only make these kinds of dedicated call-out posts about someone after they die, knowing full well that they are unable to defend themselves. It's just cowardly. Just to be clear, I'm not talking about the people who go, "Oh, rip to Oliver Tree, but his music is still ass," people. Because they at least still feel bad that he died, and you can still not like his music even if he did die. I mean, sure, his music isn't for everyone, but what I will say is that while I can understand not liking some of his songs, different strokes for different folks after all, he became one of the biggest music artists for a reason. There's also the people who make the classic edgy jokes when someone dies. Which again is whatever, it's the internet, people will always be offensive and edgy there, that's a given. It is kind of funny though how some of these people will go, I need to know if Oliver Tree was heckin' problematic before I make these jokes. Dude, either say the joke or don't. Don't try and morally justify your edginess. You just come across as fake and performative. But this video also isn't about them. The people I want to talk about are the ones that decide to use Oliver Tree's death as a method for spreading accusations against him, especially when they're not true. My issue arises from the people who are clearly using this opportunity of a dead person in order to farm clout and engage in attention-seeking behavior for their 5 minutes of fame. Especially when they spread misinformation or take stuff out of context in order to paint said dead person in a bad light. Of course, they all only say this when Oliver Tree is dead and unable to defend himself, especially when they've never spoken out about these issues before. Very convenient. These guys were too scared to press their little talking points when he was alive, but now that he's gone from this world, now they run their mouths off? One of the main points used to attack Oliver Tree comes from K-pop stans, so already we're setting the bar pretty low. Especially with how K-pop stans cemented themselves as one of the most annoying groups of people in the 2019 era. So the first main point I've seen people use to corpse dig in order to attack Oliver Tree is this post he made, where he posted a picture of him to promote his goodbye farewell tour. But the picture he used was based off the real-life death of some K-pop star whose resting place had Oliver's face put on there instead, essentially using someone else's death to promote his own brand, which is very tacky to say the least. It is very messed up, and Oliver's death resulted in many K-pop fans rehashing this old controversy. There's just one slight problem with this talking point. Oliver Tree didn't know that when he posted that image, it was based off a real-life event. He posted a detailed apology about this, and the main takeaway point from this apology, aside from him not knowing the source image, is that at the time he wanted something to promote his tour that was related to death, since it plays a key part in his music. So him and his team decided to look up death-related imagery. As a result, they found that memorial of the K-pop star and used it with the aforementioned edits. And when Oliver Tree found out that post was based off a real memorial, he removed the post and immediately gave a lengthy apology. So what's the big deal here? He made a mistake and immediately removed the post and apologized? The ultimate takeaway is that Oliver and his team never maliciously intended to use Jonghyun's grave. They didn't know where the original image came from, and they never would have used it if they knew. You guys are acting like Oliver maliciously used this edited image to make fun of Jonghyun, and not the fact that he didn't know it was an actual funeral image. You would think that would be the end of it, right? Since him and his team didn't know it was a real-life image of Jonghyun's grave, he just wanted an image to represent death, a theme that shows up prominently in his art, and they immediately walked it back. Nope, apparently, it's not enough. Oliver Tree is still a disrespectful piece of shit who made fun of the dead, apparently. Looking at the replies to some of these K-pop stans, it's very obvious they just want to be mad for the sake of being mad. They just want to feel morally superior and jack off to people dying. This same loser freak also slandered Oliver Tree as a groomer while providing no evidence whatsoever for this baseless accusation. This loser also claimed that he hung around pedophiles and a rapist. I'll cover the rapist part later, but there is no evidence whatsoever that he hung out with pedophiles. You're just pulling more stuff out of your ass to justify your weak sauce argument of, I don't care whether or not he intentionally did or not, he still did it. There's no TOS on any site that will let me express my true feelings about this person. I told my mother about what I said and she didn't care. Your mom also being a morally bankrupt piece of shit isn't a flex or the own you think it is. Of course, the main group tearing down Oliver were K-pop stans, which are some of the most toxic and annoying people on the planet. You guys remember the 2019 era, where you couldn't escape some dumbass K-pop stan with Stan Luna or whatever in their bio just spewing the most annoying bullshit imaginable, just so they could farm more views on their fan camps and piss everyone off. It's also kind of funny because they're all insane nutters, so they would fluctuate between either being extreme progressives, to the point of thinking space buns were akin to blackface, or extreme racists that would belt out the hard R in every other sentence. The next anti-Oliver Tree talking point I've seen comes from the fact that he dated singer Melanie Martinez for a brief stint, was them dating for a year or two in 2019 before they broke up. While the breakup initially seemed messy, they eventually revealed that they were both on good terms. How does him dating Melanie refer back to a rapist point I said I'd cover earlier? I'll get to that real soon, but now you might be thinking, so he dated someone and they broke up. What's the big deal? Did he cheat or was abusive or something like that? Well, no. To put it bluntly, Melanie Martinez had sexual assault/rape accusations levied against them by their ex-best friend Timothy Heller, who alleged that Martinez forced her to get high and do sexual things with her in a sleepover. Heller says she said no repeatedly, but Martinez kept pressuring her and she eventually gave in due to said pressure. Martinez denies these accusations and she says that it was consensual, saying how she would never be intimate with someone without their absolute consent. She also shortly after released a song called Piggyback, which has song lyrics referencing a rape allegation that Heller levied against her. Basically what I'm gathering from this is it's just a she said situation, where Martinez says the sexual acts were consensual and Heller says the sexual acts weren't consensual. The best proof both of them have to back up their claims is, trust me bro. They can keep going in circles all they want, but we'll never truly know unless we have a time machine. Ultimately though, the end result of all of this is that both sides never pursue legal action against each other, so again, it ultimately boils down into a she said situation, and we'll probably never know what truly happened. We just don't have enough evidence to make a definitive conclusion. The reason why all of this is relevant though, is because people were using the fact that Melanie Martinez was an alleged rapist in order to corpse dig up Oliver Tree in order to attack him, since the girl he was dating was an alleged SA rapist, which clearly means that Oliver Tree knew that she was an alleged SA rapist, which means that he was in on it too, supporting a rapist SAer and sweeping for her, aka Oliver Tree supported rape, which is the biggest jump in logic I've seen. We don't even know if the alleged rape actually happened. You guys are just saying that he knew about the rape and still chose to date Martinez without proving that he actually knew. Again, just pulling stuff straight out of your ass. Now let me get the real groundbreaking revelations out of the way. If Martinez did rape/SA Heller, she is deplorable and greatly sucks, to put it lightly. And if Oliver Tree knew this while they were dating and actively didn't care/swept for her, then he also sucks, to put it lightly, and should be rightfully called out for this, even if he did die in a brutal way. There's just one slight problem with the Oliver Tree supports rapists theory. We don't know if Oliver Tree knew she raped/SA'd, let alone swept for her if she did. Because from what I gather about Martinez's case while looking into this, while the initial allegations blew up during 2017 and the Me Too movement, after that initial bombshell with people debating it, public discussion largely died down. No one really spoke about it for years, aside from the occasional whispers and rumors, with it never reaching mainstream coverage again until recently, which I'm not really surprised about considering how the allegations never reached a point beyond she said, and Melanie Martinez was never convicted or found guilty of rape. Which explains why he was still with her for a brief stint. There just isn't enough evidence to prove that Oliver knew about the rape/SA actually happening, let alone proving that he covered up for it, or if the rape even happened in the first place. You guys are just playing Battleship and hoping that your rape defender accusations hit, while showing no proof whatsoever that Oliver Tree knew of the accusations or defended them. But guys, it's been proven time and time again that Melanie Martinez raped Timothy Heller in that sleepover. Okay, can you show us proof, please? I said you'd know if you do research. I'm suggesting you try that. You're actually a giant retard. If it's so easy to do research on this topic, then you should have no problem dropping a link instantly to prove your claims. You're the guy making these accusations. The burden of proof falls onto you. These people are just vermin who corpse dig with lies. It's also funny that you tell us to do research ourselves, because when I did, all the news sources I've seen only talk about Heller being allegedly essayed by Martinez at a sleepover, and Martinez obviously denying these allegations. The accusations never go much further than that, with neither side taking legal action. Guess the research you did sucks. The cherry on top of this shit show is that one of the people pushing the slanderous lie that Oliver Tree supports rapists had a Kanye West profile picture. And while he did change it, his main account still has the Kanye West profile picture. This is ironic considering how Kanye has his own fair share of rape accusations against him, where Lauren Priscilla alleged that she was sexually harassed, stalked, sex trafficked, and raped. As well as Jennifer filing a lawsuit in 2016 after Kanye assaulted her and stuck fingers inside her mouth to simulate oral sex in 2010. Of course, these are still ongoing legal proceedings, so everything here is still alleged. So I'm not going to make any hard-hitting claims on whether or not Kanye is guilty or not, even though in Jennifer Ann's case, West's lawyers argue that his actions were done in the name of free speech. And if Oliver Tree dated someone who had rape allegations that never went beyond the allegation stage, what does this say about you when you're openly supporting someone with sexual assault allegations against them? And I have even gotten started on Kanye's little NHH DEFCON 3 on Jewish people stint he had. Or that time he was, reading dirty magazines with his cousin, and he gave his cousin head. Allegedly, of course. But back to Oliver Tree. The point is there is no proof that Oliver knew about the rape/SA allegations and if they happened or not. And considering how these allegations against Martinez flamed on and off with no legal proceedings regarding them, I am leaning towards Oliver not knowing or not having enough proof to believe that she SA'd/raped someone. While surely there are other cases that people brought up when Oliver Tree died due to whatever microaggression he committed against some random person or group. For the most part, him dating an alleged SA'er and using a modified image of Jonghyun's grave without knowing that it was a grave are the two main talking points I've seen against him. And both these arguments against him are terrible since there's no proof that Oliver swept for Martinez's SA allegations or outright supports rape. And Oliver didn't know that the image he used was based off a K-pop singer's memorial grave. And when he found out, he immediately took down that picture and apologized. It's just very sad how people are so desperate for clout and attention that they will latch on to anything in order to try and get their 5 minutes of fame. But to do so by using a famous person who died in one of the most unfortunate and brutal ways in order to corpse dig to try and farm his death is a whole new level of low. And it's not even like the major arguments against Oliver Tree have any merit, as I've previously explained why. It's just people lying about him, saying he was purposefully making fun of and disrespecting Jonghyun's death when he didn't know the origins of the image that his team chose. And accusing him of dating/defending a rapist when it's unproven how much he knows, or if she even raped/SA'd in the first place. While I understand if you aren't a fan of Oliver Tree or his music, and didn't feel anything when he died, at the very least, I'm just asking for people to not spread misinformation or take things out of context in order to grave dig a dead man for attention online. Alright, that's all I have to say. See ya. What do you know?